He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Attention, citizens of Gotham. Welcome to Bat Minute and Robin. This time, you might have a Robin. The show that rockets through Joel Schumacher's incredible film, Batman and Robin, 1 minute at a time. I said that last time as well. I've just realised I've said the same thing twice. But that's fine.
Well, there is a rocket technically in both minutes, so I'll
There is. I think that's why it came to mind again. And I was like, that's kind of what I said last time. But I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
And here to talk about this wipeout of a movie, it's me. Actually, it's not that bad, but it's me, Niall McGowan.
Hello.
Hey.
And we are joined by two very, very, very special guests. First up, we have Brady Crane.
Hey, what's going on? John, I am thoroughly impressed with the rolling of that R back there. I could never.
Yeah, it's... I was very into, as a kid, watching football, or soccer, commentators from, like, South America, listening to the way they would do stuff. And, like, when someone scored a goal as well, they would, like, they'd be like, go! And it would go on for about a minute. So I stole all kinds of speech and audio techniques from these people.
Yeah. So you've been working on this for a while.
Oh, yeah. Most of my life. And we are also joined by Robin Garcia.
That's me!
Hey! Our first Robin of the season.
Yeah. You have to do every single episode with us now.
Yeah, that's what exactly. I mean, I'm amazed that we're starting with minute 13 for some reason. I don't know why we're doing them out of order. I assume that my invitation got lost in the mail.
Yeah, things just... It takes a while to work this stuff out, and nothing happens for 13 minutes. It's fine.
Yeah, it's weird that it's a blank screen before this, considering like we start in the middle of a line.
This is going to be interesting, because I think we have people from all ends of the spectrum regarding which we do seem to be getting most episodes this season.
Yeah.
Some people love it, some people hate it, and then there's Niall, who's like,
I mean, it's
fine.
It's doing what it's doing, and it's doing it well, I guess.
It is funny that you get some people who are just kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out with, liking the movie or whatever. I think that this movie, in terms of like it's over the topness, we've got 1 foot in the camp world and then like half a foot in the real world, if that's what you want to call it. So it's funny how those things kind of mirror.
Yeah.
But it does know what it wants to be. I'll give it that.
It's just fun. It's fun, and that's what a movie is sometimes. It's fun.
Yeah. Like,
it's
okay.
selling toys and just doing... it feels like they improvise the whole movie, but then there's effects in it, so,
So it's Paul Feig's Batman.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, see what I did there? I combined Batman and Ghostbusters.
Hey.
Clever.
I think I hope people listening know that Brady was one of the hosts of Ghostbusters Minute.
Oh, they know Brady by now. It's season 4.
Yeah.
I'm popping my collar over here. You can't see it. But...
Well, yes, this minute 13, starts with a radical good time, and it ends with the possibility of an icy slide to freedom, to death. Who knows?
Yeah.
Let's see.
I have to say, too, like, opening the first few seconds of this minute, or like, this was the image of the movie. This was, I remember every TV spot, every trailer, they all had the friggin' them surfing with the thing blowing up in the background.
The money shot.
Oh, yeah. When I was a kid, because, this movie came out when I was 6 years of age. When I was a kid, I had one of those, it's like a book with pictures from the movie, like kind of screen caps, and it had a tape, like, a cassette tape that had like a dramatic reading of the basic storyline, and every now and then it would cut to like a clip from the movie, because it would just be like some narrator going, and then Batman does the thing, and then it would just do a clip of the movie, and I remember specifically one of them was COWABUNGA.
Oh, it's a contentious choice, I think, because the people who were already like suspecting that this wasn't going to be their type of Batman movie, like if you'd seen that first, I think you wouldn't even go to see it in the cinema. You'd be like, no,
Right.
surfing in the sky and a cowabunga. If you're not on board, you're out at this point.
Yeah, you got to know what you're getting into. This is starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, so this is on a whole nother level. And the surfing thing is, it's like one of my notes is how do they keep their feet on the
Right?
Surfboards or whatever? Yeah,
Well, okay.
and then it's just, why are you trying to apply logic to this, Brady? Just get out.
Let me try to apply some logic here.
Okay.
Robin had like a magnet thingy that he was climbing up the rocket with.
Yes, true.
Who's to say they didn't stick those onto their shoes? And they're magnetically attached to the surfboards.
Okay.
The doors, the surf doors. And going down that way.
Well, it could be because we know they got those ice skates in their shoes. Maybe they pop them again. They cut into the doors, and they're stuck on that way.
There you go.
And they're
Well, it's
magnetic.
interesting.
And they're
It's interesting
magnetic.
because Batman never uses
There we go.
his.
That's the show.
He doesn't use the surfboard for anything.
No,
He
no.
just has it for a second and then not.
Well, because he's not radical.
Yeah, it's true. He's not young and hip, but you would think it's interesting because this is an improvised bat. It's not a bat door. It's not a bat surfboard. It is just the door of a thing that they have no trust in the structural integrity of. I mean, who knows where this rocket came from? They don't know what's going on with these doors, and really, it's completely unneeded. But it is something that it shows the improvisational power of these Batman and Robins.
It does.
I think you're the only person who ever took that away from that moment, and I applaud you. Did you know what? This would have been a perfect moment for. Did you ever see A View to a Kill?
Oh yeah.
The James Bond movie with Roger Moore. Yeah, classic. There's the scene where I think he's snowboarding at the beginning, and they start playing a Beach Boys song, and it's the most out of place Beach Boys song. I think it's California Girls or something. When you would think it would have been Surfing USA.
Yeah.
In this movie, this would have been a perfect time to do a cover of that song to put on the soundtrack, probably by John. You mentioned Korn earlier, so.
Oh my God, I would be on board for that.
Yeah, so it's not far off who they got to do the friggin' spin-off single. So yeah, perfectly on brand.
I
Right.
cannot wait to spend 3 hours on this show just talking about Smashing Pumpkins.
I'm just imagining.
I'm very excited.
The guy from Korn doing that, but doing it like.
Hey, they did a cover of Word Up of all things, so it might work.
But should say though, this image though, and that's what you were saying there, John, of like, presented with the image of these guys flying on skydiving on surfboards, kinda. Many Bat fans would just like, oh God, no, and walk away. But it's kind of weird because it is almost like a statement of intent, because one of the most classic, enduring images from the Batman 60s TV show is Batman surfing. Like in the episode,
Oh yeah.
what's it called? Surf's Up, Joker's Under, which I rewatched this week just to like, well, I'll see what it's got going in it. And yeah, that classically has a surfing competition between Batman and the Joker, where the Joker technically wins, but then because he's such bad form and all this business, and plus the reason the Joker wins is because he kidnaps a surfer and uses a, quote, surfing experience and ability transferometer to suck out the surfing knowledge from that surfer and put it in his own mind. Very similar.
Very specifically the surfing knowledge.
Yeah, but very similar to the box from the last freaking
Incredible.
movie. It's just like, oh my God, I guess, maybe they were riffing on that as well. But yeah, the classic image then of Batman and the Joker having this competition where they got the shorts on, but on top of their normal gear. So the Joker's out there in a full friggin', tailcoat and tie and stuff with just like green pants over the top of it. And it's great because it's obviously, him against a green screen and like Cesar Romero just kind of hamming it up. But occasionally they do cut to some actual people they put out on the waves and they look furious because they're just drenched and they're wearing full goddamn suits and they're like, this is horrible.
Well, they didn't have the technology to put bad CG models in yet,
But I should mention within that episode, we do get a return of the bat shark repellent. That's how Batman wins. He just sort of goes along, sees a shark, he's like, I got this sorted, whips it out and gives it a little spritz around him. Like it was.
Well, he was
like
lucky it was a bat shark and not a regular shark, because then he would need the shark bat repellent.
I got a question. So they've like kind of modeled Commissioner Gordon more after Chief O'Hara from the '60s show in this movie. I think I might have even caught like a little weird accent.
There's the scene later on when he's talking to Poison Ivy. I think he's flat out putting on an Irish accent. It just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. Do you think that the surfing Batman and Robin thing, I'm giving the filmmakers a lot of credit here, could be a reference or a callback to the Batman surfing thing from the '60s show? Probably not, but
I think it might be, because that's the tone they're going for is pretty much the '60s show, isn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it does have the fantastic, in the end scene when, because Gordon and O'Hara are on the beach undercover as like surfer dudes when it's just blatantly these two old men wandering around pretending to be cool. Kind of real how do you do fellow kids kind of thing going on. But when they reveal themselves to the Joker, who didn't recognize them, Chief O'Hara says, "COWABUNGA, Bagora," which was just like top line screenwriting in my view.
Everyone knows Irish people always say that now.
It's like, I'm definitely saying it from now on, I'll tell you that.
Oh, well, to actually escape the rocket on the, let's call them surfboards,
Surfboards.
They blow it up.
You see like one bit of debris falling down beside Mr. Freeze, and it's like, I'm pretty sure that it's going to be like nothing but a rain of like molten metal landing on everyone after this.
Yeah, you'd think the safer thing would be to just leave it intact.
Yeah,
but
crash it into the sea or something.
We did actually have a little talk like last week where we were like, what is Mr. Freeze's whole scheme here? Was he planning for Batman to come in and do like all this? Was he planning to crash this rocket the whole time?
I've got some notes on that for the next minute.
Yeah, we will see next minute also that he is very good at like Batman and Robin improvisation. He's good at like, because his wings fall away, and then at the end of this minute he starts, coming with another plan to safely fall out of a rocket.
I do like to think as in keeping the continuity of these films going. The wings reminded me very much of like, well, when was the last time we seen someone flying over Gotham? I was like, when Batman, after the Ice Princess got pushed off the roof by the Penguin and Catwoman.
That's true.
And then Batman was swooping down over the people and all the bats everywhere and everyone was horrified. And I was like, I like to think Mr. Freeze got the idea for these wings from watching Batman do that. But if you could retroactively go back and place Arnie in the crowd.
George Lucas said.
It'd be like, Batman pushed the princess. And like when everyone's screaming, you just hear, oh, no.
I've got it. Yeah. I shall become a freezing bird thing. That will strike fear into the heart of Batman.
Well, technically, Arnold Schwarzenegger has already been in Batman.
That is true. And in that movie.
Have you been reading my fanfic? Yeah. What does he do?
Hey, we are on the Patreon at some point going to review fanfic.
Oh.
But,
nice.
Well, but it was an idea floated. But, no, he is on the wall, because if you remember Max Schreck, has a bunch of pictures with famous people, like presidents and things. He has a picture with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Wow, I did not know that.
I think we said it in those minutes. I'm choosing to believe it's Victor Freeze. Like,
why wouldn't it be?
Yes, it's like, he's a famous decathlon, and he's also like a Nobel Prize winning scientist or whatever. So it's like, that's the reason. Why wouldn't he be even working for Max Schreck? Like,
they should have put that in. They should have looked at it and gone, hey, wait a minute. Why don't we... That could add another dimension. Like, another reason he wants to get Batman. You screwed up my research.
All right, Robin, you've got some more fanfic to get on.
Okay, well, let's get to this.
Victor Freeze begins.
There's been plenty of... there's good bait for a college Bruce and Victor fanfic here.
Yeah. But I recall the last time you were on, Robin. Didn't you say you were writing a Batman and Robin musical or something as well?
Yeah.
Or you attempted to?
And just like a great, all great writers, I have written 0 words of it since. I have not considered that they must sing a surfing song when they do this, complete with big cowabungas. Yeah.
And now it has to be in the style of a Korn song. Like, so it's all coming together.
The lead in your musical will be Jonathan Davis of Korn.
And
Jonathan Davis,
we can
that's
have
his
Robin doing his like screeching and screaming as he goes in here, so it's like a kind of screamo mix in there too. It'll be peak 90s butt junk. I don't even want to call it butt rock.
Let's do it.
I mean, honestly, I think everyone should have expected that Robin would be the one who actually used to surfboard, after he grabs the diamond, because he has to actually surf down the building, which no one's going to pay for that. It's just now they have to fix the roof.
Yeah.
But I think everyone should have expected that Robin would be the one who is mostly surfing. I mean, everyone has heard about the word. the surfing bird.
Yeah.
And as he's going down and he's hitting the roof, he's going flies off.
Oh my God.
It writes itself.
Just keep it going.
Mash it up, boys.
I also kind of want to see, though, John, I think you might be the only one here who would appreciate it, but because Mr. Freeze is kind of a snowman, I do also want to hear We're Walking in the Air as he's flying down as well.
Yes. We brought this up on the Christmas special at some point. Was it last year's Christmas special? Was it the 2019 Christmas special?
It must have been for Pee-wee. I don't think it was brought up during... Oh, maybe it was brought up during The Grinch.
I don't remember. But either way, the snowman is a big thing here at Christmas.
Oh, we will...
Because we like trauma...
We will get even more into snow next minute. So.
Oh God, yeah. The real snowman.
Mm-hmm.
But our Christmas snowman thing is basically a story to traumatize children. It's a lovely musical.
Oh, I've heard of
How do you
this.
describe it now? There's no words.
No,
it's just classical.
It's just got one song
opera
with lyrics in it, and then the rest of it's completely silent with just instrumental music playing.
Yeah, and it's like a kid builds a snowman and it comes to life and they go on a magical adventure together, and then overnight the snowman melts. And he's dead.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, we like traumatizing children over here. It's wonderful. And then they did a sequel recently after like 40 years or something. And in the sequel though, he makes us, the snowman comes back.
No?
It's stupid. It's like, no, you're ruining the message here. You're supposed to tell children that everything is fleeting.
It feels like it's been made by someone who was traumatized by the original. It's like, I'm fixing it. I'm going and making sure that he's okay.
More fan
Yeah,
fiction.
not only that, they make a snow dog, and the snow dog sticks around with the kid afterwards. He doesn't die. He becomes a real dog.
But the kid has to keep stealing diamonds so that the snow dog doesn't melt.
That would be amazing. Yes, just one more diamond of this size.
This isn't the first time, though. Just one little dumb joke before you get to that. This is not the first time that we've seen a Batman and a living snowman in the same vicinity as Michael Keaton turned into a snowman in the terrible Jack Frost movie.
Oh, yeah.
Or wait, no, was that Michael
Everything's
Keaton?
connected.
Oh,
Yes. Mickey
Wasn't
Keats.
it Bruce
Mickey Keats.
Willis?
No.
Michael Keaton.
It was supposed to be George Clooney at one point.
Oh my god, all the Batmen are coming together.
I know, dude.
Since
More
you brought
fanfic.
that up, Brady, I need to ask, right?
Okay.
It comes up, and I know he's not really doing much in this minute, but now it feels appropriate because of what you said. What do both of you think of George Clooney's performance? Most
Go ahead,
people we've
Robin.
spoken to do not like the performance. I traditionally didn't, and I'm coming around a little bit to some aspects of it, but he's
Here's my
bit
thing.
bland.
Here's my thing. We're getting kind of George Clooney, like mid-90s bobblehead Clooney, doing his best mid-90s bobblehead Clooney thing. I think that there's the idea of George Clooney doing Batman actually kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Certainly not here, I don't think.
Well, he
but
can't
I'm a
bobble
big
his head
fan of the
because of
movie.
the cowl.
That's true, yeah. The movie Solaris that he was in back in the early 2000s, George Clooney's doing some really low-key, really subtle, kind of dark stuff that I think might have lent itself to a good Bruce Wayne or something. But I remember hearing about the casting, and it kind of made sense a little bit. And he feels kind of out of place, and yet at the same time, in an Adam West kind of way, right in line with where he is at.
I actually think, coming off that, I think he would be better now. If he got the part
Yeah,
again.
totally.
100%,
Totally.
yeah.
Batman Beyond movie when?
That would be amazing, though. They're like, we're doing Batman Beyond. And everyone's like, oh, bringing Keaton back, right? It's like, no.
Nope.
Clooney's
That's
back.
Batman. Clooney.
So, Robin, what do you think? Do you like his performance? I'm not saying about the movie. I know you like the movie, but his specific, his acting in it. You know.
So, for a movie called Batman and Robin, the weakest parts of this movie are Batman and Robin. Alfred is excellent. Mr. Freeze is excellent. And Poison Ivy is excellent. Bane is also there. Alicia Silverstone's she's doing her best, but George Clooney obviously is phoning this in because he knows, it's just for money. It's just a paycheck. Where like Arnold Schwarzenegger is having so much fun, it feels like George Clooney's like, yeah, I'm gonna jump out the thing now. I'm gonna tackle Arnie. Okay,
that's it. That's his whole vibe, isn't it? He seems bored, but when you hear him speaking about it, he's not. Like, he's excited to be Batman. So, well, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I think maybe he might have actually been a bit the fact that Arnie is there and hamming it up. And like, if you look at like the trailers for the movie, 90% of it is just about Mr. Freeze. Like, they're just like, Arnie's Mr. Freeze in this. And it's like, maybe Clooney was like, I know it's a Batman movie and I'm Batman, but it's maybe just Clooney's is aware, like, I'm getting completely outshone here. Like, as the title one of the title characters, no one's paying attention to me.
He's second build too, kind of like Jack Nicholson and Keaton the first time around.
Yeah.
Batman himself is second fiddle.
Well, in this minute, all he does is, he sets off a bomb. Okay, everyone could do that. Sometimes you can't even just get rid of a bomb. And then he
Some days.
kind of tackles in the air because that's how drag works apparently in the air. But Robin does all the good stuff. He catches the diamond. That's hard. That's difficult.
Yeah. And in fact, the diamond, right? I have a question about this for everyone. Because, so Batman knocks the diamond out of Freeze's hand. And am I looking at it wrong, or does the diamond fly upwards?
Yeah, no, it does.
That doesn't make any sense.
That's how that works.
Maybe
It would go down.
Maybe Mr. Freeze jerked his hand up, and it
Even then, the gravity.
well, it's not flying up. It's falling down slower than Mr. Freeze is.
There you go.
Ah.
Do we get to? So I know last season we kept seeing. I almost called him Burt Ward. We get to see Chris O'Donnell with his earring all the time.
Yeah.
Is he wearing that in this? I know we get to see him in lipstick later, but is he wearing an earring at any point?
I think they might have got rid of the earring for this. I don't recall seeing it at
Everything
any. Unless
is
there's
more gay except for the earring.
Yeah, hang on. This is the most homoerotic movie of them all.
Oh, I have an argument for how homoerotic this movie is. I think next or the last minute that we're doing this week.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a central part of the movie's morals.
It is 100%. Like, Joel Schumacher knows what he's doing with that.
I should also say as well, though, as
gay agenda.
To talk about like Robin is doing a bunch of like the kind of nifty stuff, but like actually everything that Batman is doing, and in the last minute, like for the outro, I wrote like, Point Bat, because they're surfing in this minute. But then this is flat out the climax of Point Break. This is Patrick Swayze jumps out of a friggin' plane to get away.
Patrick Swayze.
And then Johnny Utah is just like, screw it, I'm going after him. Jumps out without any kind of, friggin' safety net and tackles him midair. And like, it's like, yeah, that's just the end of Point Break.
I never thought of it.
As if Joel Schumacher's like, I was watching I'd like to get surfing in the movie. I'll watch a surf movie. And then he watched Point Break. It's like, that's it. That's how you get around this. It's like, yeah, he jumps out the thing after him and catches him midair. But it is weird too, because I think Keanu, we might have talked about it last season. Keanu apparently was up for the role of, Batman for Batman Forever. I just can't imagine,
Wow.
though, just be like, I see without seeing. To me, darkness is as clear as daylight.
Yeah, as much
What
as I
am
love
I?
Keanu, he can only do specific roles.
It's like he looks like a good Bruce Wayne Batman, like appearance-wise, like, oh yeah, perfect. But then as soon as the voice comes out, it's like, Keanu, I love you, man, but you're limited in what you can actually do acting-wise.
Yeah, and sometimes that works for him. John Wick, great.
Yeah.
Dracula, not so great.
No. Yeah. See, you can remember at the time too, in the early '90s, he was like respectable indie movie guy, and it's like this dude, like seriously, like
It was the opposite of a Michael Keaton or a Robert Pattinson that, like, oh, this guy can't be a Batman, but it's like they have to be a Bruce Wayne more than a Batman. I think Keanu, he doesn't have the vibe of a Bruce Wayne.
no. He might have a bit more of a vibe for this Bruce Wayne, because this Bruce Wayne's so laid back and sort of like,
Bruce Wayne isn't in this movie. It's all Batman all the time.
Well, that's the problem with Clooney most people have, is that he never switches up what he's doing. He's just being George Clooney.
Yeah, I think they said in post-production they had to go and lower his voice when he was Batman to give him some sort of differentiation, because they're like, he's not doing anything different. It's just the same guy the whole time. But I do know, though, like, one of the notable pieces of dialogue in this minute is Robin exclaiming, "Cowabunga" on the way down. Yes. I know, Robin, you sent over a clip of the history of the word Cowabunga.
I went down a deep hole because I was like, what is Cowabunga from? It's from the Howdy Doody show.
Oh, whoa.
There was a Native American stereotype man who I am certain was probably not any part Native American, named Chief Thunderthud.
Mhm.
And the writers were like, okay, we won't have them greet each other with how, because literally he says, because we don't want them to resemble, quote, real Indians, heavy unquotes, that much, because that's how that works. So they said Kawakupa to each other instead of how, which Kawakupa just sounds like a Mario Brothers thing, whatever. And then they were like, let's make it sound a little more apparently I guess back in the 50s the most aggressive word was bung, because they thought that sounded aggressive.
Okay.
And so he would say Cowabunga when he was mad. There was a song about it, like a record released about him saying, hey everyone, when you get mad, say Cowabunga, over some very unfortunate sounding musical beats. The 50s were bad, kids. And then surfers got into it in the 60s, enough to make Batman himself a surfer, and just kept going from there.
Yeah.
And then ninja it mutated like some sort of teenage Ninja Turtle, and it's forever associated. I mean, it became such a thing that there's literally a Simpsons joke about how Bart doesn't say Cowabunga, but everyone thinks he says Cowabunga because that's the cool radical 90s thing to say.
Yeah, you gotta say it.
It also
Where did
feels
you
a
find
little
this?
bit too like it's something indicative of this movie, where in a lot of ways they were on the cusp of because they're getting Clooney before he's a megastar. They're getting him on the rise, as is with Uma Thurman as well. But so much of it as well is kind of as things are on the decline. We've pointed out so many things that were actively being spoofed in movies that came out the same year, but they're presenting it yeah, this is what this kind of thing is. And it just feels having Robin say Cowabunga is oh, that's what the kids love, right? And it's
It had to happen in this movie, yeah. I forget if I specifically asked for this minute before. I might have, I might have not. But this is what exemplifies this movie, is just random stuff for toys and Chris O'Donnell yelling Cowabunga.
Yeah.
And
it just feels like it's slightly too late as well. It's if it was 3 or 4 years earlier, that would have been yeah, that is a cool thing that the kids say, the Ninja Turtles. But now it's 97 Ninja Turtles are out, and Arnie's kind of off the boil a little bit. It's just yeah, you're just a little bit too late to get in the proper time of just ever so slightly. But
when did this become a kids movie? Do you think this is a kids movie? When did Batman movies go from, being aimed at, I guess, adults or young adults in the case of Batman '89 to now it's no adults allowed?
this podcast as a whole, like the all four movies of this podcast, really, I mean, Batman was always for kids, and it got grunged up in the 80s, with Ass Man and all the dark and gritty Watchmen type stuff, and that was what Tim Burton's came out of. This is just Batman returning to form. Batman should never be like the gruff, Christian Bale. Well, even the Christian Bale stuff has enough like camp to it. It's when you really get to like the DCEU gritty, like not able to make jokes or even just appear silly, because everything about Batman is he appears silly because he's trying so hard not to.
Yeah.
So would you say this is the
Batman.
quintessential Batman movie? Is that what you're getting at? Because I hope not.
I think that would be the thing, though. Like one of our regular guests, Jack Harvey, he's like one of the biggest Batman fans I know, and he is adamant in saying Batman should be the '60s show. That is the way that character
The quintessential Batman movie is Lego Batman.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's the most Batman you can get, because it's dark and brooding while everything... It's a guy who, like, sits in his home and tries to process the PTSD from decades back, and then goes and punches a clown.
Yeah.
As we
That's
all
what
want
Batman
to.
is about.
Perfect.
We've all dreamed about punching a clown.
Yeah.
Few of us have done it.
Preferably in a mecha fursuit.
Oh, hell yeah. Something I love that I haven't actually brought up, because I've got the clip running here, is I am obsessed in TV and film with people walking, running, jumping, falling away from explosions. If it happens behind the character, this is my favorite thing in the world.
And they don't look at it.
Don't look at it because they're too cool. And
What's the song by Red Hot
Lonely
Chili
Island?
Peppers? No, is it Under the Bridge, where he's running away from the flames at the end, and it is the most epic thing ever. I don't know if I'm thinking of the right song.
yeah, it's
but
that one, isn't it? I think.
Oh, the chili bag. Under the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, Anthony Kiedis, Point Break. It's all tying
there
together.
you go. Yeah.
And see, we parody this a lot in our TV. So it might only mean something to English listeners, but Red Dwarf does a great parody of it. When Ace Rimmer destroys... What does he do? He blows up like a Nazi plane, and then he's falling with the explosion behind him, and it's really bad, like, effects deliberately. And then the lead Nazi survives by...
That's how Nazi planes exploded, though. They infamously had bad special effects built into them.
Exactly. And the lead Nazi had thrown a crocodile at our hero, Ace. And he wrangles the crocodile and surfs the crocodile down to the ground.
Well, that is basically like
Okay,
one
that's
step.
what this movie needed.
Yeah, this is one step away. Like, freaking, wasn't it in a razor? Doesn't Arnie? Something similar happens with Arnie in a crocodile. Doesn't he
I
end
think
up?
so.
falling out
That's
of a
what I
plane?
call a killer croc.
I think he kills it and he's like, your luggage. I think that's
That's
his
it. Your luggage.
But doesn't he fall out of a plane on top of a crocodile or something crap like that? Or it's been a while since I've seen it, so
Yeah, I
don't
haven't seen
remember.
it for... Jesus, when did I last watch it? Like, this is probably even more recent than most people, but probably 12 years ago, I think.
and be one we should rewatch for this show maybe at some point. But
We will.
should note though that old cliche of like walking away from explosions. I think the pinnacle of that in a postmodern era actually is in The Dark Knight when the Joker's walking away from the hospital and he's kind of expecting it to go off behind him.
wow.
And then when it doesn't, he has to kind of stop and turn around and be like, what the hell? Like, what? I was looking for my cool thing exploding behind me moment and it didn't happen.
So Freeze, does he release these wings or does Batman do it? I can't quite tell even when I slow it down. Is it Freeze doing it?
I think it's same as once he realizes Batman's grabbed him, he's like, he ejects it, I think, and then that's his methodology of getting out of this. Is like, all
Okay,
right, well,
so he knows, because what he does then to slow his fall is he fires the weapon, which makes like a bridge to slide down.
Are we talking about this episode and not next episode? The freeze
Yeah,
gun?
He starts
fall.
He starts firing it. So I just wanted to
Yeah.
mention it, like, because that's weird. So he's planned that then.
Right, all the way up until minute 14, it seems like this was all part of a plan.
But I will say one thing I absolutely love, and it's just a thing I love in general, and it's really epitomized here, is I love someone's in-private concentration face. So when it comes to Mr. Freeze, like kind of concentrating as he's gliding down, and it's just Arnie with this kind of
stick out his tongue over his lip.
Yeah, I just love seeing Arnie in this. You rarely see him in that scenario where he seems that vulnerable. So it's like, I don't know. I find it just inherently hilarious to see him like that. It's like,
I think you see him a lot like that in the best Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, Jingle All the Way. But,
Hell yeah.
Nice.
He is constantly vulnerable in that, like, at least emotionally in that movie.
I watch that every Christmas for good or ill.
Yeah, it's my favorite Christmas movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's a default Christmas special for Batman as well. It's just like, well, we got a guy who was in one of the modern classic Christmas movies right here. You
could not make that movie in a post 9/11 world. You absolutely could not. Some of the jokes they make are
There's a Sinbad blows up a police.
Yeah, or he blows up that's a joke that's almost funny, and then they ruin it by cutting back to show you that the policemen are okay.
Yeah, it doesn't need that bit.
You know, they should all be dead. Yeah. They should show the funerals and have them run past the funeral because it was somehow on the same day as they're trying to get more Turbo Man.
That would have been gold.
Someone at the funeral has a Turbo Man. Someone was buried with a Turbo Man.
Get it for Anakin.
Going in, freaking digging up someone's grave to haul it out of the coffin.
He was buried with the Turbo Man he loved so dearly.
We should actually say though, speaking of freaking Jake Lloyd plays Arnie's kid in this. I put up in the Listener Society the other day, who wore it better? And there's a picture of Mr. Freeze with these goggles and Jake Lloyd's Anakin Skywalker. And it wasn't until someone in the comments was like father, like son. I was like, oh crap, yeah, that's right, they were.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because everything's connected.
All right, now this is podcasting.
Hey.
Oh my god. I wish this was a Star Wars podcast just so I could do that every episode.
That's the greatest failing of that movie. And I know that Jake Lloyd guy, riding high in life, no one's ever criticized him for anything. But I'm here to take him down a peg or two. Because I think he definitely...
And I'm sure as a child, he never received any backlash.
Yeah, he's just living the best life after those movies. But I do feel the only thing missing from Jingle All the Way is him pulling a Chip Shrek. Where he is it's the little kid doing Arnie's accent because, he's Arnold Schwarzenegger's son, so it makes sense that he would have the same voice.
I don't know what you're talking about. Both the Jingle All the Way guy and Victor Von Fries are Americans through and through. They have no accent except for maybe a little bit of the Midwestern newscaster's accent.
Well, the last note I have really for this specific minute is about the sky surfing, because this scene is not just bad CGI. Oh no. It is actually sky surfers doing real stunts that they've then used bad CGI to layer the characters over. Good work. It was really worth it.
Texture mapped them?
All right. I'm glad you mentioned that, because when it's an incredibly impressive shot, the camera's on every act, we're going down to all the buildings and skyscrapers, and we pass up a billboard that you can barely read, but if you stop it, it says Momentum T. That's all it says. And I'm wondering, what the hell? I just did some Google searching and tried to find out if Momentum T was something from Batman lore. Nope. Why that? If you're going to go to the trouble to stop and put in one random little billboard.
That's very interesting. I couldn't find anything on it either.
That's the footlight frenzy
It's
of
just
this.
a tribute to the laws of physics, which they're breaking so many times.
Rubbing salt on the wound here. But I think if we're going to do a T, though, it's just Jervis Tetch Tea, Mad Hatter Tea Party, something like that. There's so many little things. Again, we've said many times in the show, in a post-Marvel movies world, they would have had that. Because it's nowadays you have to have Easter eggs everywhere, but then they just have a random thing saying Moment Tea. It's
Wayne Industries Tea. They do everything else. Why not that?
Why not? Exactly.
Why not?
Why not just Bruce Wayne get his finger in all the pies, just take over everything? That's his act. He actually is the biggest villain of this universe.
He is.
It's running out all the small businesses. It's this Wayne getting claws into everything.
starting a
Batman
monopoly
is silly,
in the
and
tea
you
industry.
shouldn't think too much about it, or it ruins it. That's why, yeah, that's the failing of being too serious about Batman.
We came to the wrong movie for that.
Yeah.
The only other note I have for this minute was just because, as looking up Cowabunga, I came across a list of other surfing terms, and most of them I'd never heard before. It's like chunder is like for totally unsurfable waves. Things like Dawn Patrol is like going surfing first thing in the morning and stuff. But my favorite one, and I can't tell if this is horribly offensive or if it's just genius. But apparently the term for female body surfer is clam dragger.
Oh no,
Oh my god.
that's awful.
The chunder and the clam drag are the two genders.
Oh, that's terrible. You can't say that.
So many of them too are very blatantly Australian. You can just tell by a Barney. It's like that's definitely an Australian term.
A Barney? Like in what
Yeah.
context? Is it like how Scousers here say it?
It's a Barney is a surfer that is not cool. Apparently.
Oh, okay. Nah, because in
Australia. Well, that ties in perfectly because that's where Arnold Schwarzenegger's from, right? He's Australian.
yeah, of course, yes.
Apparently, I don't know
Well-known
if you
Aussie.
guys would have. I've only discovered them recently. There was a series of adverts in America where Arnie was doing the thing for some sort of real estate company, and the whole joke of it was that he went to Australia. Maybe it was an Australian real estate firm. Maybe that was the whole thing. He keeps going like, "Oh, I'm going back to my home country of Austria," and he goes to Australia by mistake and just can't get in his head correctly, like that this is Australia, and his assistant's constantly telling him like, "You're in Australia, Arnie." He's like, "Nonsense!" It's like just keeps tearing around talking about.
Where was this? This was an American advertisement. Is that what you said?
I think it might have actually. Now I think it might have been an Australian advertisement because it would make more sense that it was an Australian real estate firm.
Yeah, I'm wondering why the hell we would have had that, but I wish we did.
Well, that's all on YouTube. I'll put a link up in the listeners' cave when this comes out. But like, it's annoying because they're so short. Because comedy Arnold is great, but you're only getting little tiny 5-second snippets of him. And it's like, come on, just give him a proper scene to get his friggin' jaw working with, you know?
Come on, do it.
Do it now.
Yeah, I think he needs to cool down.
Nice.
That's wrong minute. Sorry.
Well,
That's-
but we'll all cool down. We'll chill. We'll head off into the snowy, freezing, dark night. And we'll be back on Wednesday. Would our wonderful guests like to say where they can be found online or promote anything? Brady?
Yeah, my minute shows, which are all done now, are Ghostbusters Minute, Goonies Minute, and Jurassic Park Minute. And those are all retired. And my co-host for those, Kyle, who's also my brother, did Hocus Pocus Minute. So if that's your thing, those are all out there in the interwebs somewhere.
Hell yeah. And Robin?
So I do Toy Story Minute over the Toy Story films. It's been on a rather long hiatus because Jeb and I record in person and have not been able to do that.
Yeah.
So it will come back someday. Those are all. I mean, we've done the first 3 movies, and hopefully we'll get started on 4 soon. But that can be found at Dueling Genre. And I am also working on a new, different podcast with my roommate for Dueling Genre, but it is not out yet, so I will not mention it. But if you want to follow my endeavors, you can follow my Twitter at Reverse Eye Patch, which is what I call a monocle.
That's brilliant. I love that. And you know where to find us, I'm sure. We're on Facebook at the Bat-Minute Listeners Cave. We're on Twitter at Bat-Minute, Instagram, the Bat-Minute. And, come and check out our Patreon, Sleepy Charlie Media. You give us a couple of bucks and you get some bonus stuff. We could get me and Niall talking about comics and things like that. And doing commentary tracks for Beetlejuice for no reason. Great.
Yeah. Maybe doing commentary track for another movie that's turning 30 this year.
Maybe.
It might be coming up sometime soon.
Maybe you'll have to pay to find out because we're not going to tell you. Go pay, and we will see you again on Wednesday for more Bat Minute and Robin.
You gotta fall and freeze. You gotta fall and freeze. The chase is on for the swollen skis, falling miles and miles down a big chimney. And shutting doors as he tries to flee, so you gotta foe and freeze. But which bird named boy will hatch a bird brain scheme? You gotta foe and freeze. Yeah, you gotta foe and freeze. Now tune in next time, same bad pod, different Batman. Nerd.
We'll be back.
back.